Now you're live.
Hi everybody, this is Michelle from GAML, and I'm here today with Matt Sherman, our head engineer and main programmer for CreativeStudio. And we are here today to make a very exciting announcement. We are announcing the release of CreativeStudio 7.2. There's a lot of great things about this new version of software we've been working on for quite a while now, and we just wanted to share some of those features with you. One of the ones that I'm most excited about, and I think our users are going to be excited about, is the ability to sort by patterns that don't have tags. So now you'll be able to find your patterns if they don't have tags on.
Or types.
Well, tags or types. Or collections.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to find those patterns that haven't been categorized in your pattern manager, so that you can get those categorized with tags and types and collections. And what are some of the other features that we've got coming out in 7.2, Matt?
Well, we've never been able to organize by type before, and so now there's a type manager that works just very similar to the tag manager and collection manager that you're used to. The no tag and that Michelle was mentioning, we also have a no type and no collections, so that you can find patterns that don't have those. We've also done a lot of work in Pattern Cloud and the way it interacts with CreativeStudio, so that information can be globally shared. So as you start to organize your patterns and clean those up and improve your tagging, everybody in the whole quilting community can benefit from those changes.
And just to be clear, just because sometimes Matt speaks Enginese, and when he says globally, that doesn't mean that your patterns get shared with the world, right? It just allows, what we're talking about is global tag sharing. If you participate in that with CreativeStudio, you can share your tags and you can get tags from other people so that you don't have to do all of the work of tagging every pattern. If everybody does a little, then everyone gets a lot, right?
Right. And that only happens once we, GAML chooses or approves the tag, then it goes global. In the past, if you had a duplicate pattern, it'd be really hard to find. Now, whenever you import a pattern that's a duplicate, the duplicate pattern's name gets added to the tag of the other pattern, so it's actually possible to find patterns. We often had quite a few support calls where people absolutely could not find patterns. Edge and repeat patterns used to have different alternating methods. One was based on the pattern start and end width, and the other was based on the pattern width. Now they both can go either way. So if you have a pattern that's not quite looking like it's alternating correctly, try changing that from start and end to pattern width or vice versa.
Yeah, and we'll have another video on that showing more of the details on how that works. That'll be coming out later this afternoon. I think another thing that's pretty exciting to me, and I think it's going to be exciting to some of our users, is we've created a new method for an offline Stitcher registration. So the people who don't have internet in their studio can still get all the advantages of Pattern Cloud. So there's a method. You will need internet somewhere, whether that's maybe your house has internet and your studio doesn't, or even just your local coffee shop or the local library where you can get online. Then you can access all of the features of Pattern Cloud and make it work with your Stitcher. So you can keep your patterns sorted and organized and backed up and all that.
Right, and there's a document that details how to do that process that's available. So yeah, that'll be a big improvement for our customers that don't have internet. It's always preferable to have internet in your studio, and to have a Wi-Fi connection from your Statler is better. But now it is possible. So
yeah, if you can get Wi-Fi by getting a router from Office Depot or Walmart or something like that, and get internet to your studio, that's always going to be the preferred method. The offline is a few more steps. It's not quite as smooth, but it is a way for people who really don't have a way to get internet access to their Stitcher. And we are aware that for many years, we at GAML and a lot of dealers recommended that you never connect your computer to the internet. And that was really good advice at the time. Back in previous versions of Windows, previous versions of CreativeStudio, it really was a security issue to connect your Stitcher to the internet. But with newer versions of Windows, so Windows 7 and higher, CreativeStudio version 7 and higher, all of those security things have been fixed by Microsoft, and then we've made changes in CreativeStudio as well, that it's, it's completely safe, to put your Stitcher computer on the internet. We really recommend that you do that. Of course, you'll only use your Stitcher computer for running your stat, for using the pattern cloud. If you go off into, weird corners of the internet, you might, get something on your computer that you don't want to get. But if you're just using it for pattern cloud and for, using the features of CreativeStudio, it is, completely safe there.
Yeah, pattern cloud is essentially like a giant USB stick in the sky that keeps a backup of all your patterns in the cloud, and it's a very useful feature that we encourage people to use. So we can now, moving forward, CreativeStudio will auto-save your tool strip and menu strip layout, so that when you, in the future, after 7.2, when you upgrade to the latest CreativeStudio, those will automatically be restored to your preferences.
So that's something important to remember when you're doing the upgrade. If you have 7.0 or 7.1 and you're upgrading to 7.2, if you have custom tool strips or custom menu bars, make sure that you go in and that you save those before you do the update, so that you'll be able to retrieve those after the update. And then after, the next update we do, it will do it automatically. Which also, related to that, really cool in 7.2, if you've been using 7.1 already, you'll no longer have to update your controller definitions. It will do that for you automatically. So if you're going from 7.1 to 7.2, your controller definitions will all pull over automatically for you, and they will from future versions forward also.
Yeah, that's a good point, Michelle, because when you're installing, you won't see where it's asking you to pick your mod. So if you don't see that, don't be concerned. It's not an issue.
It's because it already knows.
It already knows what your mod is.
Yeah.
And along with that, it also will pass over all your previous settings, like your stitches per inch, your preferred speeds, your point-to-point line speed. All those will automatically get transferred over in 7.2 and in all future versions of CreativeStudio. That'll be a feature that it just, I think Michelle came to me one day and said, hey, why don't we just use the values that they used in the past instead of having them resettle those? I was like, that's a great idea. So it was pretty easy to do. So we went ahead and made that change. As far as how to update your, to grab your tool strip information, that's right here in the beginning of the what's new in this second bullet down.
So that'll be on the website and also on this document, the what's new document if you downloaded the document as a PDF. Another great thing that's been added is we've doubled the number of undo points in CreativeStudio. So sometimes people have been frustrated. They're trying to undo multiple steps of something they've done, and it'll only let you undo so far. And we've actually doubled the amount of undo points that are available for people. So
border corner, the pattern placement has been improved. The margin calculations are more accurate now, and also the number of repeats. It used to be there was a discrepancy between border corner and repeat patterns as to the number of patterns that would be there, and now that is consistent throughout the software. So which is important depending on what type of work you're doing, and especially if you mix doing border corner with repeat patterns, now you'll get the same results in both, which is important.
And I think another thing that you made some really great improvements to was the draw freehand. Just smooth that out a whole lot more, so it makes a much smoother design when you do a draw freehand. It used to be a little bit jerky as you would do that, especially if you're trying to use a mouse. It wouldn't get a terribly smooth line, and that's been improved and smoothed out a whole lot. And then of course there's all the list of things that were known issues. Everything on that list of known issues for 7.1 has been corrected in 7.2.
Yep.
And then hundreds of other little things that are behind the scenes that just make the software run so much cleaner and smoother. It's going to make a much better user experience for people.
Yes. Yeah. Faster and smoother. Yes, definitely.
So just a few things for upgrading to 7.2. For 7.2, you will need a pattern cloud account. We do have that new offline Stitcher registration method. So if you don't have internet, you can use that. But just know that you will need to create a pattern cloud account for 7.2. And if you had those custom, we talked about it earlier, but if you had custom menu strips and toolbars and things like that, do remember to save those before you do the upgrade so that you'll be able to retrieve them afterwards. And then for those of you who may not be on 7 or 7.1 yet, if you're still running version 6 or an older version, do make sure that you do all of your Windows updates before you install 7.2. So for those of you that already have 7.1, after this Facebook Live is over, about 10:30, when we do the official launch, your software should actually prompt you, do you want to upgrade? And you should be able to just click yes in the CreativeStudio software, and it'll do it all automatically for you. If you're not already running 7.1, then you can go to our website and download CreativeStudio from the website, and that'll be up on the main page of the website starting at 10:30 for you to access those. So we'll stick around for a few minutes here. If anybody's got any questions, we've got a little bit of time. So I don't know if there's been any questions pop up yet, Ashley, or whether, if not, we'll give it a couple minutes and see if there's other questions. Apparently we're good. We answered all their questions.
They come through later here.
There is, while we're waiting for those questions, there is an improvement to people who have small laptops or ones with low aspect monitors.
You have an older monitor. We've made some improvements to how it displays on the screen, so you don't have quite as much stuff kind of falling off the edges as some you had before.
The best is always to have 1080 vertical per inch, which is kind of a nerdy thing, but if you have less than that, that will actually look appropriate now.
So when will the documentation be available for them to look at, and how can they get it?
So the question was, when will the documentation be available? So at 10:30 today, so right now it's about 10:20, so we got about 10 more minutes, you'll be able to access that on gamel.com. Through your software should prompt you, ask you if you would like to update. You can update directly through there. All the documentation will be on gamel.com, and there'll be a link to that on the main homepage to make it easy for you.
What version of Windows is needed for CS7.2?
So you need to be running Windows 7 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
So if you still have a Windows XP computer, it will not run. And that Windows, we started that with Windows CS7?
CS5.
CS5.
Yeah.
So it's been a few years. So all the way back to CS5, we've had to have Windows 7 or higher. So there's not any new requirement there. If you're running Windows 5 or higher, if you're running CreativeStudio 5 or higher, then CreativeStudio 7.2 will work just fine.
If I have 7.1, do I need to save tool strips, etc., or just go ahead and update?
Yes, you will, but you won't move in the future.
So to move from 7.1 to 7.2, if you have custom tool strips, do make sure that you go ahead and save those before you do the update. And then, as Matt was saying, next time when we go to 7.3 or another version, you won't need to save those next time, but you do need the 2 this time.
Do all Windows updates need to be done first?
If you have not, so the question was, do all Windows updates need to be done first? If you have not already installed CreativeStudio 7, then yes, if you haven't done hardly any Windows updates, then yes, you'll need to do all the Windows updates before you can install any version of 7, whether that's 7.0, 7.1, 7.2. If you're already running 7.1, then it shouldn't have to do Windows updates, because you would have had all the critical ones already in order to get 7.1.
Will this be part of a new machine purchase if in the process of buying one now?
Yes, all new machines shipping out starting today will come with CreativeStudio 7.2. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment on this post in Facebook, or you can send us a private message on our Gamel Facebook page, and we would be happy to answer any more questions for you. And so we're gonna scurry off here and prepare for 10:30 when this will actually go live to you. And of course, if you have any questions during the install process, please feel free to email or call your dealer or our tech support, and we'd be more than happy to walk you through the installation process. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.